I've never met a narcissist who was not vulnerable. That is to say, they have soft spots, they have glaring weak points, and if you know where to look, you can identify them and exploit them, and you can stop narcissists. You can put these people in their place. All right, let's take a look at some of these. I've got 6 altogether. I'm sure there are many more, but we're going to tie these all together in just a moment. Number 1 soft spot: narcissists tend to be painfully irrational. Reason has nothing to do with their thinking process unless you consider boosting your ego constantly, nonstop, 24/7 to be reasonable. That is what they're all about. Now, think of narcissists kind of like people who are addicted to whatever, and everything else in their life is secondary to getting supply for that addiction, whatever it happens to be. Well, the narcissist addiction, as I'm sure you probably already know, his supply is boosting his ego, and that's basically what they're all about. That's it. So that means that he or she isn't depending on reason to do anything other than figure out a way to boost their ego, to get supply out of you. So how do you exploit this? How do you take advantage of this? Well, it's really kind of simple. Anytime you're dealing with a narcissist, once you figure out they are a narcissist, is you infuse every conversation with common sense. Infuse every conversation with reason. Just bathe them, so to speak, or douse them with logic and reason. They don't know what to do with it because they are so irrational. They're so illogical that when they are confronted with logic, what do they do? Well, naturally, that offends their ego, that affronts them. And so they have to counteract whatever you're saying, your reason, and that just makes them sound more unreasonable. It's kind of like they're caught in a trap. They're caught in a downward spiral. They can't escape from it. The more they try to get out of it, well, it's kind of like quicksand, or if you've ever heard of somebody who is stuck in a grain elevator, and the more they try to get out, the deeper they go. Number 2 is they are self-destructive. I've never known a narcissist who wasn't always in the process of destroying himself, herself. You've heard the saying that the person is their own worst enemy. That applies to every narcissist I've ever met in my, I'm like in my 70s, and I've met a lot of these people, not necessarily narcissists. In every case, some of them just people with narcissistic traits. But one thing I've noticed is they tend to destroy themselves. Again, we can use the analogy of somebody who has an addiction. They destroy themselves. Well, how do you exploit that? You don't do anything. You just stand back and watch. Get yourself some popcorn, maybe a soda pop, whatever. Sit back on the sofa, recline, have a nice rest. Watch them destroy themselves. Watch them self-destruct. You don't have to do anything. My experience has been you don't fight with narcissists. They love to fight because they think even when they lose, they think they win because they are just that arrogant. And it's pointless to fight with them because, why would you? I mean, what's the point in fighting with these people? Because they're going to destroy themselves anyhow. They are going to self-destruct. No point in you doing it. No point in getting your hands dirty, making a mess, maybe even get yourself into trouble when you do something maybe outside of the boundaries. Number 3 is they tend to be overconfident. Now, you talk about vulnerability. Anybody who is overconfident is always vulnerable because they believe they are virtually indestructible, and so they don't bother to try to set up defenses. And where they have no defenses, which is just about everywhere, makes them very vulnerable. Now, sometimes a narcissist will try to set up defenses, and they just don't know how to do it. For example, we're going to talk about the smear campaign in just a moment, but they will start off a smear campaign against you or against anybody they're out to get. And that's their idea of defending themselves by attacking somebody else. Their system of defense is offense always. So in other words, there is no There is no defense with a narcissist, at least none that I have seen. So what to do? Take advantage of that overconfidence. Just scope out their vulnerabilities, like doxing. If a person is a narcissist, he's got or she has a lot of enemies. Find out who they are, build some bridges to those people. Number 4 is they cannot maintain relationships, not for long. I mean, they can for a while because they maintained a relationship with you, right? I've had friendships with a number of narcissists, but they always fell apart because once you figure out this person is not my friend, or in some cases, this person is not truly in a romantic relationship, they're in an exploitive relationship, and so those relationships always fall apart. Okay, how do you exploit this? Well, what you do is you find out, this is kind of like number 3, but you find out who they've exploited in the past, and you become allies with those people. Just that simple. You've got something in common. Hey, it works. Number 5 is they are unable to maintain communication because their speech, their communication, what they're talking about is basically about themselves. They want everything, all roads lead to Rome, and all conversation leads back to the narcissist in their mind. Now, what communication do they try to communicate? Lies, deceit. I've never known a narcissist who wasn't not just deceitful, but they are the embodiment, the personification of deceit. They are deceitful. How do you counteract that? How do you exploit that? Well, you just keep telling the truth. Just be honest, and eventually it'll become obvious to other people. Some it takes much more longer than others, but by and large, people are smart enough to figure it out. There are a few exceptions who never quite catch on to the narcissist and will believe his or her smear campaign. But anyhow, just keep telling the truth. I like to say never try to fight, or either one of them. Never try to fight a narcissist with a narcissist tactics because they don't work, and his tactic is to lie, to be deceitful. And that's going to come back and hurt you. So why would you do it? There's no point. Number 6 is require validation to function. This is one of their big weak spots. For them to function, they need to be validated by anybody and everybody they come in contact with. It seems like just all the time they are obsessed with getting other people to like them. That is one of the reasons that narcissists come across as so amicable, so pleasant, so charismatic. It's because they are trying to get validation from other people by making other people love them, to fall in love with them, to like them. That's what love bombing is all about, so they can bond you to them. Love bonding, love bombing. So they require validation, and without that, they can't function. So, as we said at number 5, there is nothing that invalidates a narcissist any more than just the truth, honesty. If word gets out, which it ultimately will, and maybe you can, nudge it along a little bit, what this person is truly about, scamming people by and large, boosting his ego, that invalidates the narcissist. Reality, truth, invalidates the narcissist. All right, let's tie these all together by saying that the one common denominator of every narcissist I've encountered is that they're predictable. They go in the cycle. They're cyclical. We could say they're stagnant, even though they move in a circle, but the circle is stagnant. It's just one place. It's fixed. There's 4 parts to the cycle. Number 1 is love bombing, love bonding. Number 2 is invalidating their victims after they've got them in their trap. Number 3 is they discard their victims after their victims catch on to them. And number 4 is the smear campaign, trying to defend themselves by lying about you or whoever their victim was. There is a red dot, lower right-hand corner. Click on that. Become a part of our family, our YouTube family by subscribing. Then be sure to click the bell, so you get notifications. Lower left-hand corner, there is a rectangle. That allows you to access our library, our past videos. There's a bunch of them, so you can keep on listening, and we'll see you all next time.